Amanda's fork scraped against fine china as Jin's mother spoke in rapid Korean, pretending she didn't exist. 3 years of marriage, and the woman still refused to acknowledge her son had married a Black American woman. "More wine, Mrs. Park?" Amanda asked in perfect Korean, her light brown skin glowing under the chandelier's soft light. The older woman's lips thinned. She turned to Jin, switching to English with deliberate cruelty. "Your father would be ashamed. A Park married to this." Jin didn't look up from his phone. Business always came first. Lately, it was the only thing that came at all. Amanda's fingers tightened around her glass. 6 months ago, he would have defended her. 6 months ago, he still touched her like she mattered. "Excuse me." Amanda stood, her yellow dress a bright contrast to the family's dark suits. Nobody stopped her. The bathroom was her refuge, all black tile and gold fixtures that belonged in a palace, not a Seoul penthouse. She pressed her palms against the counter, studying herself. At 28, she was supposed to be living her dream, married to the most powerful man in Korea's underground, beautiful enough to stop traffic, successful in her own right as a translator. Instead, she felt invisible. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. "He's going to kill you tonight. The wine, don't drink it." Amanda's heart stopped. She read it again, hands shaking. Some sick joke, but something in her gut twisted. Jin had been distant, cold. Last week, she'd found divorce papers in his office unsigned but there. And there'd been a woman's perfume on his jacket, something expensive and unfamiliar. She deleted the text and returned to the dining room, her mind racing. The wine bottle sat in the center of the table, a 1982 Chateau Lafite that Jin's mother had brought specifically for this dinner. Amanda watched as Jin's brother poured himself a glass. His mother sipped hers delicately, but Jin's glass, the one at his place setting, remained untouched. He was still on his phone, jaw tight with whatever stress he carried these days. His mother was speaking to him in Korean now, something about a business merger, about Lee Corporation's daughter being more suitable for the family image. Amanda felt sick, not from poison but from understanding. "Jin," his mother said, switching back to English, her smile sharp. "Pour yourself some wine. We're celebrating your father's memory tonight." Jin finally looked up, his dark eyes unreadable. God, he was handsome, sharp jaw, perfect features that had made her stupid with love 3 years ago. Now those same features felt like a stranger's. His hand moved toward the bottle. Amanda didn't think. She grabbed his glass and downed it in one motion. The room went silent. "Amanda," Jin's voice cracked with something that might have been fear, might have been anger. She couldn't tell anymore. The wine was bitter, too bitter. She felt it coat her throat like acid. "What are you doing?" His mother's English was suddenly perfect, her face pale. "Drinking my husband's wine," Amanda said, setting down the empty glass. "Since he seems too busy to celebrate family tonight." Jin stood so fast his chair fell backward. He grabbed her wrist, and for the first time in months, she had his full attention. His eyes were wide, scanning her face like he was looking for something. "How much did you drink?" His voice was rough. "All of it." Amanda's vision blurred at the edges, the room tilted. "Why was it expensive?" She saw the exact moment Jin understood. His face drained of color, and he pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "You idiot," he breathed. "You stupid. Jin," his mother's voice sounded far away now. "What's happening?" Amanda's legs gave out. Jin caught her before she hit the ground, and she felt his heart hammering against her cheek. He was shouting something in Korean, orders, commands. Someone was crying. The room spun like a carousel. "Stay with me." Jin's voice was in her ear, desperate and raw in a way she hadn't heard since their wedding night. "Amanda, stay with me. Why did you do that? Why did you drink it?" She tried to tell him about the text, but her tongue was too heavy. Her body was shutting down, piece by piece. "I've got you," Jin was saying, carrying her now. She felt movement, heard elevator doors, heard his voice breaking as he barked orders to someone. "You're not dying. Do you hear me? You don't get to die." Funny, she thought distantly. He'd ignored her for months, but now she was dying and suddenly she mattered. The last thing she heard before darkness took her was Jin's voice, cracked and grieving. I did this. God forgive me, I did this. Then nothing. When Amanda's eyes opened again, she wasn't in a hospital. She was in a room she didn't recognize, sparse, clinical, but definitely not a public facility. And Jin was there, sitting beside her bed with his head in his hands. He looked like he'd aged 10 years. You're awake, his voice was hoarse. He reached for her hand, then stopped himself, like he'd forgotten he was allowed to touch her. The antidote worked. You're going to be okay. Antidote? Amanda's throat felt like sandpaper. Jin's laugh was hollow. There was always an antidote. That's how these things work. I don't understand. He finally met her eyes, and what she saw there made her heart stutter. Guilt, grief, and something that looked like devastation. The poison was meant for me, Jin said quietly, and you just drank it to save my life. Amanda's monitors beeped steadily in the silence that followed. Jin looked wrecked, his expensive suit wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes like bruises. She'd never seen him anything less than perfectly composed. Who poisoned the wine? Her voice came out stronger than she felt. My mother. The words hung in the air between them, impossible and yet completely logical. Amanda tried to sit up, but Jin moved faster, adjusting her pillows with hands that trembled slightly. Don't, his jaw clenched. You almost died because of me. The least I can do is... Your mother tried to kill you. Amanda's mind was racing. Why would she? Because I refused to divorce you. Jin's eyes were bloodshot. She's been pressuring me for months. The family wants me to marry Lee Yuna, merge the organizations, strengthen our position. But I kept saying no. Amanda's heart twisted. The divorce papers in your office. Were blank because I never signed them. He exhaled sharply. I brought them home to burn them to prove to myself I wasn't going to give in, but you found them first. You've been so distant, Amanda whispered. For months, Jin, you barely looked at me. I was trying to protect you. He stood abruptly, packing like a caged animal. My mother made threats, said if I didn't end the marriage voluntarily, she'd end it herself. I thought if I pulled away, made you hate me, you'd file for divorce first. You'd leave before she could hurt you. So you decided to hurt me instead? Amanda's anger flared hot in her chest. You ignored me, humiliated me at family dinners, made me feel like nothing. I know, Jin's voice cracked. I know, and I was wrong, but I thought emotional pain would heal. I thought it was better than this. He gestured at her hospital bed, his hands shaking. Better than watching you almost die because you drank poison meant for me. Amanda's breath caught. You knew about the wine. Not until dinner. Jin's face was ashen. I got a message 20 minutes before we sat down, anonymous. It said my mother had arranged something, that I should refuse any food or drink she offered. I didn't believe it at first. She's ruthless, but she's still my mother. Then why didn't you drink? Because I looked at her face when she poured that wine. His voice dropped to something raw and broken. And I saw it, the calculation in her eyes, the way she waited for me to drink. So I stalled, stayed on my phone, hoping I was wrong. And I drank it instead. Amanda felt tears burning her eyes. Why did you have an antidote ready? Jin was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. Because 3 days ago, I found out my mother had acquired a specific poison. Tasteless, odorless, mimics a heart attack. I've had antidotes prepared and placed in every property I own. You knew she was going to kill you. I knew she was planning something. He finally looked at her, and the pain in his eyes was devastating. I just didn't think she'd do it at a family dinner in front of everyone. I thought I had more time to handle it quietly. Amanda's head spun with questions. Where is she now? In custody, my custody. Jin's expression went cold, the crime boss she'd married bleeding through the broken husband. My brother is handling the interrogation. She'll tell us everything, who else was involved, whether this was sanctioned by the family elders. You arrested your own mother. She tried to murder my wife. His voice was steel. Blood means nothing compared to that. The words hit Amanda harder than they should have. For months, she'd felt like an obligation, a burden Jin was stuck with. Now he was talking about her like she was worth starting a war over. "I got a text," Amanda said suddenly, "before dinner, warning me about the wine." Jin went very still. "From who?" "Unknown number." She tried to remember the exact wording. "It said, 'He's going to kill you tonight,' I thought. I thought it meant you were planning to kill me." "Jesus Christ." Jin looked like she'd struck him. "You thought I was trying to murder you, and you still drank the wine to save me." "It was your glass." Amanda's voice shook. "Even if you wanted me dead, even if you'd stopped loving me, I couldn't watch you die. I couldn't." Jin made a sound like something breaking. He crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled her into his arms, careful of her IV lines, his face buried in her hair. "I never stopped," he said against her neck. "God, Amanda, I never stopped loving you, not for a single second. Pulling away from you was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I do terrible things for a living." Amanda felt tears soaking into her hospital gown. Jin was shaking, his carefully constructed walls crumbling. "When I saw you drink that wine," he continued, voice breaking, "when I watched you collapse, I knew I'd made the worst mistake of my life. I should have told you everything. Should have trusted you to be strong enough to handle the truth." "I am strong enough," Amanda said fiercely. "I survived your mother's racism for 3 years. I learned Korean in 6 months. I built a life in a country that didn't want me, married to a man whose family hated me. Don't you dare underestimate me." Jin pulled back to look at her, his hands cupping her face. "I won't. Never again. I promise you, Amanda, I will never shut you out again." "Good." She wiped her eyes. "Now tell me who sent that text message." "I don't know yet." Jin's expression shifted to something calculating. "But I'm going to find out. Someone knew about the poison before I did. Someone who had access to your phone number and wanted you warned." "Or wanted you dead," Amanda said slowly. "If I hadn't drunk the wine, you would have eventually. Maybe the text was meant to make sure of it." Jin studied her with new appreciation. "You've been paying attention to how this world works." "I'm married to a crime boss. I pay attention to everything." Amanda's mind was clicking through possibilities. "Who benefits from your death?" "Besides my mother?" Jin's smile was bitter. "Half the family's in Seoul. My younger brother who'd inherit if I died without an heir. The Lee family who'd absorb our territory in the chaos. My uncle who never forgave my father for choosing me over his son." "We need to find out who my mother was working with," Jin continued. "Because she doesn't have the technical knowledge to acquire that specific poison. Someone supplied it. Someone who wanted me dead and was willing to use my own mother to do it." Before Amanda could respond, the door burst open. A man she recognized as Jin's second-in-command, Marcus, another black Korean-American who'd worked his way up through the ranks, entered with his phone out. "Boss, we have a problem." Marcus barely glanced at Amanda. "Your mother's talking, says she wasn't working alone." "Who?" Jin's voice could have cut glass. "She won't say, but she claims if anything happens to her, evidence gets released that will destroy the entire park organization." Marcus hesitated. "She's asking to make a deal, her freedom in exchange for the name of her partner." Jin laughed, cold and dangerous. "Tell her she can rot in hell first." "Jin," Amanda grabbed his hand. "Maybe we should hear what she has to say." Both men looked at her like she'd grown a second head. "She tried to kill you," Jin said flatly. "And failed." Amanda's mind was racing. "But someone else out there wants you dead, and they're smart enough to use your mother as a weapon. We need information more than we need revenge." Marcus whistled low. "She's got a point, boss." Jin studied Amanda with an expression she couldn't read. Finally, he nodded. "Bring my mother here," he said. "Let's see what she's really afraid of." Jin's mother arrived in handcuffs, flanked by 2 guards who looked like they could bench press a car. The elegant woman from dinner was gone. Mrs. Park's designer clothes were rumpled, her perfect hair disheveled, mascara smudged under her eyes. But her spine was still straight, her chin still lifted with pride. She looked at Amanda and smiled. "Still alive," she said in Korean. "What a pity." Jin moved so fast Amanda barely saw it. One moment he was beside her bed, the next he had his mother by the throat, pressed against the wall. "Choose your next words carefully," he said in English, voice deadly calm, "because they might be your last." "Jin, stop." Amanda's command cut through the tension. "Let her talk." He didn't let go immediately, but eventually his fingers loosened. Mrs. Park slumped against the wall, coughing. "You've made him weak," she spat at Amanda. The great Park Jin, brought to his knees by a black whore. Jin's fist connected with the wall beside her head, creating a crater in the plaster. "I said choose carefully." "Mom," the word came out twisted with contempt. "Who are you working with?" Mrs. Park straightened her jacket, regaining her composure with unsettling speed. "First, we discuss terms." "There are no terms," Marcus said from his position by the door. "You attempted murder. In our world, that's a death sentence." "Then I suppose my insurance policy activates." Mrs. Park examined her nails like they were discussing the weather. "And the entire park organization crumbles when the police receive detailed records of every illegal transaction from the past decade. Names, dates, amounts, everything." Amanda watched Jin's jaw tighten. "You'd destroy father's legacy." "Your father was a fool who let his only son marry beneath him." Mrs. Park's eyes were cold. "He's dead. His legacy means nothing if it ends with you and her." "The evidence," Amanda interjected. "Where is it?" "Safe," Mrs. Park smiled. "Multiple locations. If I don't check in every 12 hours, it gets released automatically. Kill me and you destroy yourselves." Jin paced like a predator. "What do you want?" "Freedom, money, relocation to somewhere you can't touch me." His mother's smile widened. "And a promise that you'll divorce her within 6 months." "Absolutely not." "Then enjoy prison, my son." Amanda felt the rage building in her chest. This woman had tried to kill her, was blackmailing her own son, and still thought she could dictate the terms of Amanda's marriage. "What if I divorce him voluntarily?" Amanda asked quietly. Everyone turned to stare at her. "Amanda," Jin started. "Hear me out." She kept her eyes on Mrs. Park. "You get what you want, I leave. Jin marries someone suitable. Your precious family image stays intact." Mrs. Park's expression shifted to something almost triumphant. "Finally, the girl shows sense." "In exchange," Amanda continued, "you tell us who your partner is, full details, and you give Jin the evidence you're holding." "Why would I trust you to follow through?" "Because unlike you, I actually love him." Amanda's voice was steady despite the pain in Jin's eyes. "Enough to walk away if it means keeping him safe." The room was silent, except for the medical equipment's steady beeping. "Amanda, no," Jin said hoarsely. "I won't let you." "It's not your choice." She finally looked at him, hoping he could see what she was really doing. "It's mine." Mrs. Park studied her for a long moment. "You'd really leave him?" "To save his life, to protect what he's built," Amanda nodded. "Yes." "Interesting." Mrs. Park tilted her head. "I didn't think you had it in you. Perhaps I underestimated you." "You did," Amanda said. "Now tell us who you're working with." Mrs. Park glanced at Jin, then back to Amanda. "My partner is someone Jin trusts completely, someone who's been in his inner circle for years." "A name," Jin demanded. "Do we have a deal first?" Amanda opened her mouth to agree, but Marcus's phone rang. He answered, listened, then his face went white. "Boss," he said urgently, "we've got a situation. Someone just tried to kill your brother. He's in emergency surgery now." Jin's entire body went rigid. "What happened?" "Car bomb. He was leaving the safe house where we're holding the interrogation equipment." Marcus's voice was tight. "He's alive, but barely." Mrs. Park had gone very pale. "You didn't know," Amanda said, watching the older woman's reaction. "Your partner just tried to kill your other son." "That's not," Mrs. Park's composure finally cracked. "We had an agreement, only Jin, only if he refused to cooperate." "Looks like your partner decided to tie up loose ends," Jin said coldly. "Who is it?" "I need protection." Mrs. Park's voice shook. If they're willing to kill Jihoon, they'll come for me too. Then start talking. Mrs. Park's hands trembled as she pulled at her handcuffs. It's someone in the Lee family, but I don't know who specifically. All our communication was through encrypted messages and dead drops. That's not good enough, Marcus growled. It's the truth. Mrs. Park's facade shattered completely. I never met them face to face. They approached me 6 months ago, said they could help me get rid of her. She gestured at Amanda and positioned Jin for a beneficial merger. They supplied the poison, the plan, everything. I just had to execute it. Jin's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression went ice cold. What is it? Amanda asked. Message from an unknown number. He turned the phone so she could see. Jin's brother will live. Jin's wife will not be so lucky next time. Agree to the Lee merger by midnight, or everyone you love dies. Amanda's heart hammered. They're watching us. They knew your brother survived. And they know you're still alive, Jin said grimly. He turned to his mother. You're going to help us. How? By making contact with your partner. Tell them the poison worked, that Amanda's dead, and you're ready to proceed with the next phase. Mrs. Park shook her head frantically. If they find out I'm lying, then you'd better be convincing. Jin's smile was razor sharp. Because right now, you're only alive because you might be useful. Prove you're not, and I'll let whoever's hunting us find you first. The fear in Mrs. Park's eyes was genuine now. She nodded slowly. Good. Jin turned to Marcus. Get a message to the Lee family patriarch. Tell him I'm ready to discuss the merger. Set a meeting for tomorrow night. You're actually considering it. Marcus looked shocked. I'm considering walking into their headquarters and finding out which one of them is trying to kill my family. Jin's voice was dangerous. Amanda, you're being transferred to a secure location. Absolutely not. Amanda pushed herself up in bed despite the dizziness. If they're watching you, they'll know something's wrong if you suddenly hide me away. I'm staying visible. You almost died. And I'll almost die again if we don't figure out who's behind this. Amanda grabbed his hand. We do this together, or not at all. Jin looked at her for a long moment, conflict warring in his eyes. Finally, he nodded. Together, he agreed, but you don't leave my sight. Deal. Mrs. Park watched their exchange with something like wonder. You really do love each other. Yes, Jin said flatly. Which is why you're going to help us, and why if you fail, what I do to you will make death look merciful. Marcus's phone buzzed again. He checked it and cursed. What now? Amanda asked. The text you received earlier, the warning about the poison. Marcus looked grim. We traced it. You're not going to like where it came from. Where? Jin demanded. Here, this hospital. Marcus pulled up an image. From a burner phone registered to one of the night nurses. She clocked out right after Amanda was admitted and hasn't been seen since. Amanda felt cold dread settling in her stomach. Someone on the inside warned me. Or tried to ensure the poison worked by making you suspicious of Jin, Marcus countered. Either way, we have a serious problem. Jin's expression was murderous. Find that nurse. I want her alive and talking within the hour. Already on it, Marcus headed for the door. But boss, there's one more thing. What? The nurse. Marcus pulled up a photo on his phone. She's Lee Yuna's cousin. The room went silent as the implications sank in. Lee Yuna, the woman Jin was supposed to marry, the merger everyone wanted. It's a setup, Amanda said slowly. The whole thing. They wanted you to suspect your mother, wanted us distracted while they... The lights went out. Emergency generators kicked in a second later, bathing everything in red. An alarm began shrieking somewhere down the hall. Security breach, Marcus said, already moving. Someone's in the building. Jin pulled Amanda from the bed, his body a shield in front of hers. Stay behind me, he ordered. The door burst open, but it wasn't an enemy. It was Lee Yuna herself, blood splattered across her white designer suit, a gun in her shaking hand. They're coming, she gasped. We have to run now.